No, yes, all mistakes cost money, don't they? Unfortunately.
Definitely.
You know,
Definitely.
but,
There are places I used to do bathrooms back in the day, probably just before I took my gas license, so about 10 years ago. And there were one particular place where they did have very good prices.
mm-hmm.
But it was a nightmare to deal with them.
Yeah.
So they had this card payment machine. Every time when I went to pay my card, it was literally frozen every time. And then the guy said to me like, "Oh, you should come a bit later in the day because all the time in the morning we have this issue." I say, "Did you hear yourself?
Yeah.
You asked me to come in the late in the day.
Yeah.
What do you want me to do in the morning? I should work."
Yeah.
So I think it's
daft as you saying. I have issues with self-service checkouts at Tesco or Co-op.
Okay.
So for me, I use a local Co-op by us just to get our usual bits and bobs,
Okay.
a bit of bread and milk here and there. And there could be 20 people in the queue, and I will stand in that queue not to use that self-service checkout.
Well, you don't like it,
mate. I hate it. I just don't get on with it. And you're guaranteed if anything's going to go wrong, it'll go wrong when I go to it.
Is it?
Oh, I get the red lights up. I could be putting some bread through and I'll get a red light up on it or something, or it won't recognise this. I bought some birthday cards not long ago because they're really light.
They don't pick it up.
Didn't pick it up, did it? So I've gone beep, beep.
Nothing.
Put them down, and it's going, "Oh no, I don't like that. I don't like that." And they're going, and it tells me, "Well, put the cards, put it in the basket." Oh, I've put it in the bloody basket. And it's going. So I pick him back up, I put him back down, and it's still going. No,
Still the same. Wow.
So I did that about 4 times. By this time, everybody's gone. The shop's empty. I'm still here doing bloody cards on a self-service checkout. So in the end, I lost my rag and I threw the cards down on the weight.
Stay there.
On the scales. I went like that to try and get it to trigger.
Yeah.
Oh, it triggered it, right? Triggered the red bloody light, didn't it?
I mean, they do want to save some money having these self-checkouts on it.
Oh, man. But yeah.
But it's not for everybody.
No, it's not. And I'm not one. I can't get on with them. And I always get it from some of the local people in the shop who I got to know, and they go, "It's that self-checkout's free if you want it." No, it's all right. I'll wait.
No, my friend.
I'll wait in the queue. Don't worry.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, but no, I know that feeling about stuff not working right. But
definitely.
no, it is like that. But what have you?
I heard. I mean, I'm not sure if it's true or not, but in USA apparently was the big Walmart.
Walmart.
Yeah.
Walmart.
They put a subscription for you to use the self-checkout.
Oh, right.
So you have to pay, and everybody's like, "What?
You have to pay to use it?"
Yeah. So in order for you to use it, you need to pay a monthly amount of money. And the question was like, why? I mean, what they find out that since they installed the self checkout, the fraud, it went on the roof because apparently you can trick the system. So there were a lot of people playing around with the self-checkout. So we save on not having too much stuff on the checkout, but obviously we lose a lot of money because, no one is there to check on them.
Well, nobody monitors it, does it? You're relying on...
So it's good or not. You rely on people being honest, I presume.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like the whole thing about that is if you find a suitcase of money, what you're going to do with it. And I've seen it a few times come up on Facebook, a similar type of thing, and they go, "Well, what would you do with it?" I'll spend the bloody lot, basically. Because I've been in the past. Not like I'm raised like that. Don't get me wrong. Your dad would kill me. But like back in the day when I was younger, I found an instrument. It was It was a clarinet and a flute.
Oh.
Okay. In cases, and somebody had left them basically in a bus stop, out in the countryside it was, and there was nobody about, and they were just there, and I thought, "Oh, what's that like?" I had a look, and it was a clarinet and a flute, and I thought, "Well, that's got to be worth a fair few hundred quid."
Especially if they're
so I picked him up, I took him home, and my mum says to me, "Oh, what are you going to do with them?" I I said, well, I don't know really. And she said, well, you're going to have to return them, aren't you? I said, but I don't know who they belong to. So we had a rummage, and anyway, there was somebody had written an address on one. And I was like, yeah, but I could sell these, eBay wasn't around back in them days. Our internet wasn't really going. So, but a quick word of mouth around the pub would have soon shifted them, And you were like, yeah, but I could probably get, 50 or 60 quid for these, back then. And you're like, oh, as a young lad, you're like, oh, that's beer money for at least a weekend. And my mum went, no, come on, you've got to do the right thing. And I was like, and she said, well, because they're worth quite a bit, they'll probably give you a little reward.
Yeah.
And I went,
fair enough.
I tell you what, you're probably right. I'll do the right thing. She said, it's right to do. She's like that. And I said, yeah, I know. So anyway, I drove over to the address and knocked on the door. And this woman come to the door and she says, yes, can I help you? Like quite stern, like. And I said, oh yeah, I think I found your musical instruments. Oh, right, that's where they were. Oh, right. Took them off me like that. Went, slammed the door in my face.
There you go. Be honest.
I stand there going,
really?
What just happened?
At least my petrol money. Or these are...
And I was like, there's no thank you. There's definitely no reward. And I was just like, you wait till I go home and tell my mum now, I'm going to curse her. I knew I should have sold them down the pub for 50 or 60 quid, But that's the way it goes.
At least you did the right thing.
I did do the right thing,
I used to work, just my early days in UK, I used to work in London for a company, and we were doing a home renovation. And this lad, he find like underfloor what do you call it?
Safe.
Yeah, so the person died in the house, so we have to rip out, done everything, and we heard something weird, him doing something upstairs, and then like within like 10-15 minutes, he was just gone in the van, gone.
Yeah,
and no one knew anything about him for about 2 weeks. Then later to be found out that actually the son or the daughter of the person who died, she knew that there are some valuable stuff left somewhere in the house. Yeah. The guy was gone, never been seen again. So
I had a couple of things, not like that, but finding stuff. And we were pulling up some floorboards, proper old floorboards in an old property for a single bloke. To relay some central heating pipe work and find his secret stash of porn. That's how he got, and this is how far we were going backwards. It was in video format.
Oh,
so we're going back probably at least 30 years, and he got his 3 or 4 magazines.
Oh,
and then he got 3 or 4 videotapes next to it. Well, of course, you can't help it when there's a group of lads in there, we were like, bloody hell, look at this. I'll have a look at this, Oh, look at these videos. Oh, bloody hell, that's a bit worn, isn't it? You could, hang on, then you is coming up the stairs. Like,
oh no.
Shit, quick, put it back. Put it all back, put the board back down. And went, all right, we're just going to go to the next room and start the next. All right, thanks, We went back the next day. And it all gone. It all disappeared. So he obviously knew we'd found it, and we had to put some pipe down there anyway. But he went back and he removed it and hid it.
I got a plumber with a friend, which we kind of share all the time when we find the weird boiler installation and that kind of stuff. And recently I had the boiler where it literally caught fire and it was like all melted. Yeah. And I was like, look what I found. And then the same day I find in someone's loft, literally all of us full of bees. So I meant to service the boiler. They went put the light on, bees everywhere. And the guy is sending me, okay, just look at this, what I find. A baby doll in the loft. And I said, what on earth? And the problem was that you go in the loft and you know that obviously there's no one there. And then suddenly you see a person lay down on the floor.
Yeah.
First he thought it's, a person there. And it was like, shake or like, is someone dead in the loft? And the guy was like, oh, sorry, mate, it's just my friend.
A special friend.
Crazy customers, isn't it?
It's mad. But we've had, I did some work down in London as well, and we would, for a big company, water treatment company, we were contracted to at the time. And basically, we were going in. They were renewing all the asbestos cold water tanks in the loft.
Oh,
so they were taking them out and putting plastic ones in. But they couldn't go in until it was safe for them to work in, because obviously it's got to be boarded out for them. Blah blah blah. And it was our contract to go in and board all the lofts out, all the flats and all the apartments, so they could go in and change the tanks.
Sweet job.
So it was. So we got into one, and I sort of, you sort of got to move stuff, because people didn't move it. They didn't care. And you've got to move it to be able to get the boards down to make a walkway. So we're moving carpets and bloody pictures and all this. And then all of a sudden I've got 3 rifle cases. And I've gone, ooh, what's in there? Being a little bit nosy. What's in there? So I unzipped one, and it's a proper rifle. And I was like, don't know what to do with this. So I sort of zipped it up. And I thought, I better phone the contractor's manager, and sort of say, look,
Yeah.
And I phoned him. I said, look, what's your policy on finding things in the lofts? He said, what do you mean? I said, well, we've obviously had to clear it, but I've come across technically a couple of firearms. And he went, oh, they're probably pellet guns. I said, no, mate, no. I said, they're not. They're not pellet guns, trust me. And he went, right, just put him back where you found him and don't say anything. And I went, right, okay, that's fine, but I've told you that they're there. Yeah. And I said, why are we not saying anything? He says, well, it's funny he says, this leads to another story. He said, we had somebody doing some work for us in another loft. He said, and this bloke found a pile of money and drugs.
Oh.
So he said, being the bloke he was, he thought he would take it to the police station. So stopped his work, he put it in his van, and off he drove to the police station. He handed it in, he did the right thing.
And then
he said, but on the flip side, then the manager of the company turned around and said, what would have happened if you'd have been pulled over by the police on the way?
Yes.
He says,
you'll be accused.
You would have been, you've got the drugs, you've got the money.
You're in possession of
you might as well just go straight to prison,
and then prove it that actually they're not yours.
And of course, what are you going to do? Oh, well, I actually got it from this flat. Oh, did you? Have you got drugs and money on your flat? No, officer. They're not going to admit it, are they?
Oh, wow.
So from that day after, they introduced this policy, and they said, whatever you find in the loft, it stays in the loft. Don't move it, no matter what degree it is. It stays there. You don't remove it.
It kind of makes sense, doesn't it?
It does when you think about it.
Yeah.
But then you'd have been like, well, I'll give the police the drugs, but I'll keep the cash for myself.
Yeah, but that cash could be actually
that's right,
dirty money as well.
That's what washing machines are for, isn't it?
Does it work?
Why do you think they call it laundering?
Does it work?